Hey guys, it's your girl Brigethia Arai.
And I'm Anisa Brenee, and you are officially in the first episode of Off the
Off the
Record.
record. I'm so
Tea.
excited. How do you
Same.
feel? How do you feel?
I feel pretty good, but I mean, in us preparing even that intro, the butterflies are like all the way up here because I almost said welcome back to our channel. Well, guess what? There's no welcome back because you just got here.
No, seriously, I was about to say it's giving very much like Disney Channel. I was just on the cusp of saying it. Like, welcome back. Y'all,
Yeah.
we super excited to share off the record with you. Is something that myself and Anissa have been planning for a minute, and we're just excited to bring y'all into our world, unscripted, unfiltered, and we're gonna get into some things.
We are. So if you're just tapping in, all I can say is you're in for a treat. You're in for a wild ride, but you're in for a very real one. So you can read the bio if you really want to know what this is about. Just know you tapped into the right link. So I think we should start by telling the people who we are, but then also we got to tell them how this turned into a thing.
Started on the email thread.
Girl, we mixing business and pleasure. What?
Yes, we are. Oh my goodness. Off the record is something that we both wanted to come together to really unpack and kind of show the behind the scenes, the realities of this world of media and PR and being a content creator. So as we get into who we are, you guys will know that both myself and Anisa are in this world. And we want to just share with you guys again, like this behind the scenes. What are the real reels? What are some things that really grinds our gears? What are some things that makes us excited about, new trends and all of the things? So if that is your zhuzh and that's something that you enjoy talking about or you even want to learn more about, this is the place to be. Off the record.
Yes. Welcome to
Well,
the group
welcome.
chat.
So you want to start, Anisa? You want to tell us about who is Anisa Brenee?
I love the way you did that. Well, for those of you I haven't gotten to meet in real life or online, my name is Anisa Brenee, and I am, where do I start? I'm a multimedia personality, content creator, entrepreneur. That's what I started calling myself an entrepreneur
Period.
in 2014. University of West Georgia. I graduated from there with my degree in mass communications. Went to school for radio, came out doing radio, and then life changed. And then content creation started picking up. So I was doing more of that. And then that turned into hosting and being on stages. And then all of those things eventually led me to Brigethia. So anything media related, I love it. Certified Yapper, that's me. From radio to content to I've even hosted a few game shows. Isn't that kind of crazy? Wherever there's a mic, I like to be on it. But as the show goes on, of course, you'll learn more.
Yes, we'll totally learn more. I was just thinking while you were going through like your background is that we obviously have worked together. But I think this is obviously our first time really getting to know each other on a different vibe and spectrum from like what we're used to. But I think we always kind of had this like, I don't know, it was just something like, I like her. That's my girl.
Yeah.
Like I like her. I feel like we've known each other for a lot longer than we have. It's been a little over a year, I guess. Yeah, that we've known each other. But I'm so happy that our paths crossed and
Literally.
we're here. I love that. So my name is Brigethia Arai, and I am a brand strategist, a publicist, a multicultural storyteller. I also make content as well. I'm trying to get back. I do a lot of things, but I'm trying to like get back to the content creation because I am on this brand strategy side, and that's like my favorite thing out of all. But I've always I have not been able to get away from being in front of the camera. Like I've done it forever. When I was like in like first grade, I was doing like the news at my school. It's so funny.
Were
And
you
like
really?
yeah, like we had like this little like news like thing in our school, and then we'll be like it'll broadcast to just the classrooms. And I actually asked one of my old teachers, my music teacher, about it, and I was like, "Do you guys have the recordings of that? I would love to like watch it." He was like, "No, I'm so sorry. We just streamed it like in the class." So I think it's so funny because you never really know where your path will take you. And I was kind of shy too as a kid, so the fact that like now I'm just like talking and yapping on different stages and places is like very, very cool and interesting. I would say for myself, like I said, I'm a publicist. Mass comm is my background, and I figured out that I wanted to be at the space where I help these big brands and individual entities kind of tell their brand stories. And also, the multicultural storyteller aspect is making sure that people that look like us are being represented and getting opportunities. That is very, very important to me. So I think you have to have those folks on the inside. We see a lot of us in front of the camera, but the people behind the scenes are the ones that are actually making the budgets, proving
Yeah,
all the things. And I want to make sure that we are in the space 1000%.
yeah. You're dropping a lot. I need you to look them dead in their face, okay? I want you to look them in their eyes. You did this from when you were a tater tot to now you're a grown tot and now we're here. So just one more time. And she went to the Syracuse University. So please.
You. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I listen, like I said, you just never know the favor that God has over your life, seriously, because like I said, from a little kid being shy, but somehow I was like in front of the camera always in little ways and like to realize like where I would be later on in life. Obviously you don't know that. So I'm very grateful and very blessed to be able to just create and work on things that I truly am passionate about. But yes, I went to Syracuse University, got my master's in public relations there, and then for undergrad, I went to Madai College and I studied mass communication there. And yeah, that's a little about me from a small town. Went to PWIs. We're gonna get into that too. We both are
You
PWIs.
have to.
I used to thought that I was an HBCU grad, I guess, because I don't know why, but
Cause she goes so hard for them, and you give me the energy of like,
I know the opportunities that they don't always get compared to us, and I'm just always gonna be for my people. But also, love to the PWI girls and boys are most definitely there too. So love to us as well. But we, depending on what school to and all, it's a lot of nuances with that. Wherever I see us is where I want to be of service, and whether it's a HBCU or PWI,
it
I
don't
want to.
matter.
It don't matter.
Yeah, shout out to all of our sisters and brothers who are choosing higher education. We are rooting for you wherever you went to school. If you're seeing this, congratulations. And if you chose YouTube University, take up your trade with pride, okay?
Listen, that is another way of expressing yourself. So I am all for it 100%.
Expressing
Um,
yourself, learning something. I mean, yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's so interesting how that has, because when I was like in what high school, college, that was the thing. I was watching the Jackie Inas of the world and, all of the girls, Alyssa Ashley and all of them. And they were taught me so much about like makeup and beauty and skincare and fashion and all the things, and how like that was a just kind of starting then, and then now how it's such a big thing and how things continue to evolve, like with streaming and like Twitch and all the things that people make a living off of TikTok live. Like it's just crazy how things continue to evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. So we will see what's to come, because I'm pretty sure something else that comes about that changes.
Yeah. It's so
um
funny when you said earlier that you were on the news in elementary school. We had the news too, but I was too scared to do it. So it's just so funny to me how you say, looking back at your childhood, it all makes sense now. For me, I was the safety patrol. Like, it doesn't make sense. No, I'm not a snitch. No, I'm not the ops. But I was like, I can get out of class early. I can just walk around the halls. Like, I needed a break. Okay. I was tired of being at the desk.
But you know what? I think that is because I was such a shy kid, but some way, somehow, I don't know how they got me to do that. But I just remember doing it, and like I don't know how I got the courage to do it because I always was very quiet. And I think I'm still relatively that way, but I know how to when I need to talk and when it's time to talk, I can do it. But I'm not the loudest person in the room. Like I wish I could see those clips, who we were back in those days. I think is really cool to see. But let's get into why we started off the record.
If I'm being honest, I feel like one of my reasons for starting off the record was because I remember the night when we met, and it was because I hounded people about the details about the party you all were producing because it was nowhere to be found. It would like people weren't really talking about it, and the people that I knew or heard were going. It wasn't like, let me just hit them up real quick and figure out what the situation was. So I was like, how you? how is this gonna be for this event? I'm a part of the event, but I'm not a part of this event, so put me on. And so I had only ever heard your name, didn't know what you look like, didn't know what I was walking into. I just know I gotta find this person. She has a very specific name. I'm gonna find her. I feel like a part of that story and taking the risk and just showing up is one of the main reasons why off the record is so important to me and why the conversations like this have to happen, because you just never know where the story will follow along to.
Yes.
That was the beginning of a book for me, which now we're multiple chapters in, and literally, sorry y'all, I'm a Jesus girl, but only the Lord could have positioned all of this.
Absolutely.
'Cause the scary girl in me was like, "I don't like getting turned away at doors. I don't like getting all ready just to get there and not be able to get it." Like, I don't wanna be calling nobody. Like, "Hey, I'm here. Can you just" that's not me. So the fact that it worked out, the fact that the relationship was genuine, the fact that you were cool, the fact that the people around you were cool, it just made me realize that sometimes there are risks that aren't as scary as we think.
Yeah.
And sometimes we will talk ourselves out of doing certain things to keep us from or just playing it safe. All of that said led us to conversations that we probably, off the record, probably shouldn't have been having as early on as we did, but I felt like I was always talking to a homegirl. And
Yeah.
so it made me feel comfortable because I was praying daily, Lord, send me my people, but also send me to a space that values the things that I put out. And you were literally one of those people who always championed the content I was creating, the events that I was hosting that you might not have ever been able to pull up to. I don't know, you were just always there from afar and even in person. So for me, it's about taking risks. It's about listening to your gut. It's about listening to that whisper and being able to have really candid conversations about the industries that we navigate with people you don't know if you can trust them yet, but something's telling you to trust them.
I think it's so interesting though how like how we all have our own perspective of that day that we initially met because we were like, I mean, it was our event, so we had your name was on the list.
They ain't
And
tell me
it's so
nothing.
crazy because we literally kept saying like, "Oh, make sure where's Anisa? Like, is she gonna come?" Like, we literally kept saying that. So it's so crazy because that happened, and that was a long night. So I don't know if I really remember. I know you were there, but I don't remember if like the conversations we had or like because it was just so much happening that night.
It was
But
so
I know that
loud.
it was but I know you were there, but I'm like, it's interesting, you know, when you finally talk about something, it's like, wow, so that was your experience. But our experience was like, we want you to come there. And I heard your name before I even met you as well, because another person on the team was like, yeah, we worked with her before because I wasn't there the prior year.
That's so interesting.
I left and I was
Yeah,
working,
you told me that.
and
Yeah.
that's when I left for a year. So that year that we did this event, that is the first introduction they had to you. So I kept hearing this name of, we need to work with this person. We need to work. I'm like, okay, well, who's this girl? Like, okay. And then when I met you, like, it just was like, you know, natural. But like you said, it's so interesting how things happen and how God can bring us together. And I felt the same way when I met you. I'm always looking for genuine people because, especially in our industry, people always want, but it's like where you feel like the friendship, or even if it doesn't get to a friendship per se, but just like it's not equally yoked because you feel like you're the one who's giving. And I have been in that space a lot. I think it's a part of it, you know, being a publicist and just being in this space, period. Like you just, you know, people want things just how I want something from a journalist, right? Like I want you to
Yeah.
write about my thing. Like I get it, so I'm not mad about it, but I definitely felt that like genuineness and I felt comfortable and I knew that like I can trust you, and I can definitely say, like, other people that I worked with felt the same way. Like, they were like, "She's, like, a great person. Like, I really like her." And another thing is that I think that we both are similar in the space of a lot of people meet me and assume that like they won't think I'm nervous about stuff. You know, people have certain ways about you. They feel like you're just always because I know when I am in work mode, I'm very much so like, let's get into it. Da, da,
Yeah.
da. Like I am very much so like that. But I get nervous too. Like you don't present that way. I love that we are building our friendship to where like we are getting to know each other differently. So I
Yes.
love that. Like I feel like we connect there. Like we connect
And
there.
this just takes it to a whole different level too, and a whole other conversation, which I feel like we may talk about in this season, but like fostering adult relationships starting in the workplace,
Yeah.
because I think it's often pushed on us that, you don't want to let your coworkers in on your business. You don't want to tell them about what you have going on. And then you meet somebody like you, or you meet somebody like me, and then this happens and it's like, but I was taught that we're not supposed to do this. I feel like in this age, how else are we gonna make new friends?
Right. And like
When
we
you
understand
gotta
each other.
you
Yeah.
got a schedule like yours.
Yeah.
How?
Definitely. It's definitely it helps because like you said, like we understand like, okay, this is the industry we're in, this type of things that we're doing. Like we understand we can, talk about this and having also another person that like you can bounce ideas off of. Like you're working on something, like you kind of understand. And I've definitely felt seeing that. And for me, for sure, especially when it comes to friends, it definitely takes me a very long time to really like open up. Um, just because, people are weird. There just be a lot of stuff going on. But it
Yep.
takes me a little minute.
They
But
always want something.
yes, always. Always, 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 always. And I think, I mean, that's like I said, I'm used to it, but I think I've definitely have a great level of discernment for people that are around me. I feel like I've never been a person to where like just any and everybody I'm hanging around with all the time. Especially like as I got older, it's kind of like people just kind of want to be around you because just to say it. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
was a person. They want to soak up your energy, but they don't really care about you per se. It's just the likeliness of you or being in your space. But I guess as far as like off the record, it's really us just like kind of sharing. Like we said, we understand both sides of things. So it's really us
Mhm.
coming together to like share this industry and like what's happening, even giving some tips and tricks to those that are kind of entering this space or are currently there, whether you want to be content creator and influencer or you want to be on the like corp com side or like whatever that may be. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely right. I realize that even in introducing ourselves, how we introduced ourselves is very work of us to only talk about I went to school here, this is what I do, blah blah blah, but like
let's really get into it. Like,
get that out of here, Like how did I even
hey, this is
I
off
don't
the record, isn't it?
it is, and I also realize I'm not very good at talking about myself or talking about the things that I work on. I don't know where that came from. I don't know when it started because I I would be quick to say, "Oh, I do this, I do that," but then as I've gotten older, I've gotten less pressed about listing off all of my accomplishments
Exactly.
and just more about, "Okay,
Yeah.
what's the quick?" Because 'Cause they're not listening.
Right. And they don't understand that also it's so many things I don't even know. Like just know I create things, I'm working, babe. That's it.
And I'm working. But for your cliff notes, I am from Atlanta. Really I like to be specific because you never know who you're gonna get on here. I'm from Marietta. So if you decide to comment on this, be nice. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I'm from Marietta, which is only about 15, 20 minutes outside of Atlanta. So we are covered on the news. Grew up in Cobb County in a predominantly white area, which is so interesting because, like we said in the beginning, I thought Brigethia went to a HBCU. Now, a lot of people that I come across think I went to an HBCU as well. I get Clark Atlanta all the time, even though Spelman was my dream school.
Same.
Oh,
Spell
twin.
Spelman and Howard for me.
Yeah, it was either Spelman or I mean, my aunt went to Hampton, so I mean, those were the 2 that were really pressed on me. My mom went to Spelman, both of my grandparents worked at Spelman, so when it was time for me to go to school, 1, the grades wasn't doing what the grades was supposed to do, if I'm being honest. 2,
There you go.
Spelman didn't have my major. They were a liberal arts school, liberal arts college, so it was very much political science, African American studies, and I just no. I just hand me a microphone. That's all I want. Just come on.
Exactly.
But then also tuition being sky high, my mom said absolutely not. But that also comes on the heels of going to school when your parents work there and you just
Mhm.
get in and out. But as I've gotten older, I learn more and more stories about the Spelman legacy and what my grandparents did while they were there. So, been in Atlanta my whole life. I love it here. It's different. It's very black. It's very culturally rich. It is very communal. People ask me all the time, am I going to leave? I would probably go somewhere else, but I think this will always be home. There will always be some kind of house, some kind of something here. I just love it. I love the people. I love what we do. I love what we stand for. And the wings at Magic City are lit. So, yeah.
What you didn't say that. I've never been to Magic City, but I need to go
Baby, come on. We'll go just for the wings.
just for the wings. I would love that. So, Magic City
Yeah,
trip, come back to Atlanta.
come on.
Love, love, love that. I am from Syracuse, New York, a small town. A lot of people would be like, what is Syracuse? It's upstate New York.
That's the real upstate.
Yeah, girl, I guess so.
How far outside of, like, where people think New York just is, like, Manhattan? How far out?
It's 4 hours. 4 hours.
You live in a different state, actually.
Yes. It's like 4 hours drive from New York. It's a small town in upstate New York. It's very cold there in the winter times. A lot of people know Syracuse from Syracuse University. That's
Big
basically
Orange?
the things. Yes. And because Carmelo went there. I mean, a lot of great people actually went to Syracuse University, but Carmelo Anthony won in the championship game. That's like the thing where everybody knows. I would say Syracuse is kind of like mixed of like I don't know the percentages if like more black or white, whatever, but the area I lived in was mostly black and like Hispanic. So that is really what I grew up around is Hispanic culture and black culture. My parents are obviously black, but I grew up in that space and I would say I always went to like inner city schools. All the things. My mom was a nurse. My dad worked as a custodian and like in schools that I think he was there at some of the schools that I went to like a few years maybe while I was there. But other than that, he worked at like a school, always worked for the school district, my mom nurse. And yeah, I mean, I pretty much had a pretty normal upbringing. I am the oldest daughter. So
Oh,
I have two younger siblings. Both of them, when my parents like split up and they both ended up having like separate kids, and they actually both are like literally like 3 weeks apart. So I have two siblings that are the same age. So that's very funny.
love it.
I would say that being the oldest child is I don't know, it's weird, and I feel like I didn't really realize some of the, like, effects of it until I got older, but, like, you're the oldest child, so you're your parents' first time for everything, like, your first time going to college, first time going to high school, first time dating, first time everything. So, I realized that that created some type of, like, pressure on me to, like, do well and, like, be, like, perfectionist and all of that, so I that's something that I work on is, like, letting go of feeling like everything has to be perfect or like, just kind of letting that control go. So that is something that I feel like is a huge part of just me and who I am. And I think although I wish that I was not as hard on myself. But it was more so of like my teachers, my family, my parents kind of always just instill into me like you're great and you're going to do great things. And I think that's incredible. But it does put a lot of pressure on a kid to feel like, you always have to show up. But I also realize is that if I did not have that, I probably would have not accomplished all of the things that I have accomplished. So I'm grateful for it, but maybe if I have kids one day, maybe I'll switch it up a tad bit. But I'm blessed to, for the upbringing that I had. When I left for college, actually, Spelman was a school that I definitely wanted to go to. I remember visiting. My aunt has lived in Atlanta for a while, for years, and I remember going on campus like when I was like 11th grade or something like that, and like doing a tour. And I was like, oh, I really want to go here. Like I was so excited. And then Howard also was a school, but that I also was, like, wanting to go to. I remember just, like, watching the videos over and over from, like, different clips and, like, all the like, just the whole culture of going to HBCU, and I
Yeah.
wanted that so bad, like, I wanted to go so bad, but it just didn't end up panning out that way, so I decided on my school in Buffalo, New York, and that's about 2 hours away from home, and it honestly was a great decision for me. I thought that I wanted to go to the HBCU and, like, go that far away from home. It really was being so far away from home, and I was like my mom and my dad didn't really want me to go that far. So, needless to say, I go to the school, and I do truthfully feel like that was, like, a better situation for me. I got lucky, like, some of my closest friends went to the same school with me, some of my family, like, my cousins that were, like, the same age, so it was, like, kinda like a little family, like, we had a lot of great experiences, so it was fun, and I think I definitely just grew into, who I am today, kinda starting at a smaller school and then graduate school kind of, a big
Network.
I think all of the makings of me and all the different aspects, I think, you realize how much like, wow, if this didn't really happen, then I probably would not have, I wouldn't have done certain things. I wouldn't have been so like, because when I'm focused on something, it's like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna do it. So I'm thankful that my parents prioritize my education and just like all those things and just like hard work and all of that. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm in the same boat in a way. I West Georgia was never on my list. It was on my mom's list because she was like, "You're gonna go where the money is,"
exactly.
and they had the money. But for me, I went kicking and screaming. I mean, tight, because I also prior to orientation, I had no real knowledge of what the demographic looked like. Like, you could tell me numbers all day, but, like, I hate to say it, but what kind?
Mhm. I need to.
Um, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of it's off the record. What kind of black is there? I'm confused because I just wanna make sure that I see myself. I always said I wanna graduate in 4 years. I don't wanna have to do the transfer portal. I don't wanna lose any credits. I just don't wanna do that. And so, what ended up happening for me was West Georgia ended up being one of the greatest things that happened because it allowed me the space to create my own path. And it's so funny. I will tell everybody this story anytime. I remember going to West Georgia and my mom asking if I knew what the mascot was. For context, the mascot is a wolf. Cool. But also on every pamphlet, every billboard, there was a road sign. So I genuinely thought the mascot was a road sign. And so when I look at my journey there, I was literally carving out my own highway, which then, after I graduated, kicked down doors for there to now be an entire mass media department that now considers red carpet hosts. It considers entertainment news. It considers a certain genre of radio. Why? Because there was this small group of people, but there was and I hate to give myself this credit like this, but Imma give it to myself. Why? Because 'Cause I'm 40 under 40. There was this
Yeah,
girl
hello.
I am, I gotta find the award, it's somewhere in here, but yeah, I'm 40 under 40, and there was this girl who was doing this thing that wasn't like, it wasn't a thing on campus, and, people always wanted to know, "Well, how are you doing this? How are you whatever?" Well, that's because 'cause I'm leaving campus every weekend just to get back to the city to host, to work, to do whatever. I wanted to go to Georgia State. If Spelman wasn't the option, it was gonna be Georgia State. But what I learned in my process was when it came to internships, every station could only pick 1 or 2 people from the schools that close to the station. Now, when media day comes, they could pick, like, 3, 4 from West Georgia. They could pick 3, 4 at different stations. So it was like, "Oh, I have a better chance at getting this." Why? Because they think the likelihood of you actually traveling to the internship is gonna go down.
Yeah.
'Cause nobody wants to drive an hour and a half downtown, from school. You don't have no money. It's not a paid internship, and that was when internships were free. Okay? So yeah, I'm running it up. And I'm also on Instagram every day. I will wake up at the time in college. I would set an alarm every morning for 5:30 a.m. to wake myself up, make a post, go back to sleep, wake up, go to class. Why? Because the algorithm wasn't a question at the time. The algorithm went in the order of when you posted it. So whoever posted after you, I wanted to be the first thing you saw as you were getting ready for class.
Right.
And what did that turn into? A whole world that I didn't even know existed. I miss that version of myself. I miss the hustle. I felt like I had to do it. And then you come out of college and you gotta hustle to get the job. You gotta hustle to keep the spot, to stay on air, to be seen. I
Yeah.
think as I've gotten older, walking away from school, while West Georgia in no way is like a Syracuse or a Spelman, it has its own network. It's different. I feel like I get to now be the network that I was looking for.
Yes, for your own brand, your own name. No, I love that because like, my undergrad college, Madai, it was, like, extremely small, like, it was definitely not like Search University, but at the end of the day, it still was an incredible space for me because I was somewhat kinda sheltered a little bit. So,
Mhm.
it was a nice, like, putting myself out there still, and it has a good comms program, it had a good comms program and stuff, but it was more so about, like, my experience and what I needed. Like, I needed a little bit more, like, cause Syracuse is different, it's so big, you don't always have that directness with your professors and being able to be closer. I mean, in grad school is slightly different than undergrad, but, like, it's such a huge school that, like, my classrooms were, like, maybe 30 people, maybe 40 sometimes, but it was very, like, it was a small school. Like, it was not like a big school by far. So I really got a chance to connect, like, with my professors and, like, really build relationships with them and, like, network it just felt different. So
Yeah,
I feel like that was good for me. But sometimes, you do go after, like, the bigger names and it feels like that's better. But
yeah.
I do think I was led definitely to where I was supposed to be in that time. And interestingly enough, when I applied to the Medaille, the college of my undergrad, I originally applied for psychology because I thought that I wanted to be like a family and marriage therapist because I was like, I want to help
Really?
people and like I don't know, I knew that I just wanted to help people in some kind of way. And I felt so intrigued. I guess because, like, my parents weren't together, I felt like I wanted to be, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I wanted to do that, but I was, like, so into it. And then I just had to switch a heart, and I was like, "But I think I wanna do something else." Like, I feel like there's another way, because 'cause I've always been so into movies and,
Yeah.
like, talk shows and, talking on a camera, like, fashion was, like, my first love, so that's something that I really always loved to do. I would have my sister, like, "Let me style you, let me dress you up, take pictures of you," and she does not like the camera and all that, so she would be like, "Oh my god." But that has always been me, like, I've always loved doing that, and I was like, "I want to learn," like, I figured out communications, like, "Okay, I'm gonna do communications," and I feel like I found my way of helping in my own way. And for me, the biggest part of that was representation. I thought about how important it was to see people that look like me on these commercials or just being represented. I feel like that's something that just naturally kind of came to me and something that ended up being extremely important to me to make sure that like I saw that more and realizing like okay, you can be an example of that. When I was a kid, I feel like it was like Queen Latifah was like the main person that we saw and that made me feel like man, one day I can, do this. And in retrospect, working with her years later is insane because she was
Yeah.
like someone that I watched all the time, like all of her movies, like she was just a breath of fresh air. And of course, like Raven and Kiki Palmer, like those were the first people of me seeing. And it's like, I know it can be more and it can be in my space as well. And realizing how much marketing and media and all that plays such a huge role in representation and self-esteem.
I hosted an event a few months ago. It was a women's event, for women who are either current wives or want to be wives soon, seriously dating. And a part of the conversation was about getting in touch with your inner child. And in that conversation, as I'm listening to all the women speak, I realized like I didn't remember what I was like as a kid. And I don't think I've been around anyone who reminds me of what I was like. Like my mom will say, "Oh, yeah, we did this when you were growing up." But I mean, like, what was I like? What did I like? Was I the kid that always had to have ice cream? Was I the I don't know. But as you're talking, I think God can be so funny. He can show you parts of yourself through conversation when you talk about what you were going to major in and why. Your why being, you saw what happened with your parents, so it was like, "Maybe I do this and I try." Well, my parents got divorced my sophomore year of college. So by then, I had already decided mass comm it is. I didn't like science or math, but my reason behind choosing mass comm was because my mom worked in the church. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. They had an R&B band growing up. My mom directed and managed choirs. It was I always thought music was gonna be the path.
Yeah.
So I was drawn to things like 106 in Park and MTV and waking up early and watching those things, but the gag is I wasn't even allowed to watch any of that stuff. So where I would have a remote, channel 3, the news would always be on the return button. So when no one was around, I'm trying to see what the countdown is looking like, or I'm trying to see what movie is about to come on, and like trying to be a part of conversations that I knew I wasn't allowed to be a part of per my parents. And so choosing mass comm, choosing radio was almost rebellion in a sense because I made a decision. You wanted me to pick something, so I made a decision and I'm scared to talk on a microphone. I hate the sound of my voice. How much more rebellious can it get?
Yeah.
And it's interesting looking back. And then also in some of the work that we've done, if I'm being honest, I'm realizing this now, you're literally helping me remind myself what I was like as a kid because shoot, beyond the gates. I think we all resonate with watching or hearing soap operas in the background, whether we're with our grandparents, our parents, whatever. But I didn't realize until recently how much I would come home from school, drop the backpack, sit in front of the TV and Oprah's on. 3 o'clock. Oprah's on. Okay, cool. We sit there, we can't change the channel because mom's not letting it happen. So we go the full hour. I'm knowing everything that's going on in everybody's life. Whitney
Yeah.
Houston, Boris Kojo, this, that, the third. And then in the morning, getting ready for school, don't let it be a day off from school. It's The View. It's Good Morning America. I'm literally covered in talk shows. And then if it really is a day off from school, then you get your As the World Turns and General Hospital and The Young and the Restless, and then you get into the evening and then it's Entertainment Tonight and then you get into your shows. So, yeah, I feel like it was always kind of there. I don't think I realized how much I consumed talk.
Yeah. I agree. I was the same way. I definitely, with my grandmother, always be watching Oprah all the time, and then also the Tyra Banks show was one of my absolute favorites. I watched the Tyra like, that was, like, my
Oh,
that, America's Next Top Model, like, that
yeah.
was always just and excuse me, so obsessed. Also, of course, 106 in Park. My god sister took me there when I was, like, 15 or 16, I think, which was,
Such a
like, so
blessing.
crazy and so fun. Like, all of those things like that is so like, again, it's so crazy how certain stuff in your life, it will lead you like God is creating this pathway for us to get to, like, wherever we're supposed to be, and you're getting these little tokens along the way, and you're not really knowing. I was watching a video earlier of it was actually OBO showing his stepdaughter she got accepted into college. And it was such a sweet video, and it kinda made me a little emotional because it was her, like, reading the letter. She's like, "I probably didn't get accepted, but I did." And it just brought me back to, like, that time of your life is so interesting because you're so excited because, like, you're about to graduate and you feel like whatever, but then it's also, like, this nervousness of feeling like, "Oh my god, I'm about to be, like, on campus, and, like, I don't have anyone." I have to make the right decisions while no one is really watching. Like,
Yeah.
my mom did not play at all. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I have to, like I have to really show up and like I have to want to do it. And I don't know, I just remember that time in life getting the acceptance letters, being so nervous and like packing up your room. And I was like, that is such a beautiful part of life that I always tell like my younger siblings or cousins and stuff like, please enjoy that time in your life because you will never ever experience anything. It's such a turnkey moment in your life as a teenager. Like you're about to go off to school and then you grow so much in those 4 or so years while you're in college, like completely change. Like I seen myself from being such a like, and I hate to say shy because I don't like to call myself that, but I was very just, I was very to myself and I didn't say too much. It was just kind of like, and I just seen myself evolve so much and having the courage to speak. And my professor being like, I guess I will be like, I'm just gonna fake it till I make it. I might be so nervous right now, but I'm just gonna pretend like I'm not. And I'm just gonna keep going. And I remember seeing people being so nervous when we have like public speaking, and my professor would be like, if you want to work in communications, you cannot be over here
I
about
know.
because you're doing public speaking. You got to get it together. And I'm
I
like,
hated that class. Hated that class.
it was not my favorite class.
Oh, oh my
I
god.
Hey, we have to stand up here and do this. That class was just, oh my God. But I do feel like in most careers, even if you don't work in comms, you have to public speak at some point.
Yeah,
Most
at this
careers.
point.
So it's definitely a good skill that people need to have. But that's just such a beautiful time in life. And for any of you that are watching that you are embarking on that journey, like you're about to be there or you are currently in there, take it all in, enjoy it, because this is like the only time in your life where like you really get to focus on you and you really get to kind of figure out who you are as a person even more. Like you really like once you become an adult, it's like you're still finding yourself, but you got priorities. You got real like a lot more priorities than you had in college. So it's a great time. And I know sometimes it may feel like anxious and nervous and you may be going through personal things, but like take it all in and appreciate that time because this is your time to really be like selfish and like really locking on you and your education and do your internships and make friends and all of the things because it really is. I think it's like a really beautiful time in life.
It really is. Wow. In my mind, we have just redefined this podcast, and it really is one big discovery of getting back to who we were as a child and almost a pat on the back for surviving some of the things that we've survived. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's been traumatic per se, but making it to our big ages.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
I'm 31.
Period. We're in our 30s. I mean,
Making of us like
yeah, no, you're
the
making it.
yeah, the
You're
becoming. Yeah.
the becoming and thinking about too what you said about the acceptance letter. I feel
Yeah.
like that was my first time experiencing rejection that wasn't like it it was direct, but it wasn't direct.
Yeah.
And so like where I feel rejected, the school, they don't ever see me. So it's not like a one-to-one interaction. And so it was just my a first experience experiencing rejection in that way. And so it is a heavy thing to carry around because you do your best, you take these tests, and for some people it's not enough. For some institutions it's not enough or you're not the right candidate. So it's so many thoughts that go through our head. But in everything that we said, because we have yapped
We have.
and
We have.
somebody got to cut this down. Um, in everything that we've said on the record, Brigethia, what is one thing that you would say to the Brigethia that was in the car or on the train or on the plane headed to college? We're not even gonna go like kid. We're going back to
College.
the one that was going to college.
I would say to her that you're gonna figure it out. You don't need to worry or obsess about the future because God is going to bring you exactly where you need to be and where you're supposed to be. And your drive and persistence and ambitious nature is nothing wrong with that. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. That's what I was saying. What about you?
Oh, I would say to the girl listening to the R&B music, looking out the window with one tear rolling down her face on the car on the way to school, that, you're upset now, but this isn't the destination. Just see it through. Just see it through because what you're going to leave with, what you're going to leave this part with is literally setting you up for it's paving the way for you to pave the way.
Mm. I love that. You know what I just thought of when you said I think you said something, I'm thinking about It's the Journey. You know that little clip from,
Yeah,
Campo?
it's a journey.
No, seriously, y'all, for real. Seriously though, if a young person is watching, like literally, we 1000% knows how it feels when you are making those huge life decisions, like going to college and starting a new job, moving to a new city, all of those things. And it feels like that's the end of the road. I promise you, it will be okay. It will get greater later. You will figure it out. You don't have to trust me. I feel like I was low key torturing myself when I even applied to graduate school because I'm such a, and you guys probably will learn this as we do this series. I'm a very type A person. And I literally was like submitting my application and then I'm looking up like college rates, who get accepted and who doesn't. I'm like on Twitter trying to look up like, did anyone tweet about they got their acceptance letter? Like I am like, my mom was like, literally,
Let put it
please
down.
put it down. Like, girl, calm down. Like, I was just like, because when my mind was set on something, it just feels like it's the end of the road. Like, that's the only way. But when I tell you, God's rejection is your protection, you will be fine. You will figure it out. Nothing is going to be perfect. But all these decisions, just know that just listen to your heart, what you're supposed to do, make sure it makes you happy. And just you'll be fine. Like you will get through it. You will be fine. Don't let it be such a heavy, heavy, heavy moment. So that's just something that it just came to me to say that because I know that feeling. Like, whew, that
The
feeling be
pro
heavy.
the prophet said it best. Life is lived forward but understood backwards.
Yes,
It's not going to make sense right now.
it's
It
not,
will.
but it will. It
It
will. Oh my
will.
God, it will. But I think this was an incredible episode, y'all. We had to take it back and let y'all know who we are, why we connected, and how we got to being, hosts and cultural architects and, publicists and media mavens and all the things. This is how we got to where we are, and the journey was not easy. We are still on the journey. We are constantly reinventing ourselves day to day.
Every
Um,
day.
every day. But I'm grateful for us being here together. We have so much more fun episodes to go and to chat with y'all on, have some fun guests coming along. And yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Like Brigethia said, way more to come. This wasn't as unfiltered, unscripted, crazy chaos as y'all will probably get from us moving forward, but it is very real, and that's how we want to keep it. So, until next time, we're off the record. We're off this recording. Okay, good night.
Bye.
That's the content creator in me.